Insecure interfaces and APIs is threat number 2. I don't know if you guys can see that cartoon. It's kind of a funny one. I can send you guys the slides after we're done for anybody who's interested. Just make sure I get your card or talk to Kevin and make sure you get those. If I'm a cloud provider and I'm opened up my API, meaning I'm going to allow your applications to interface with my applications, there's a threat in that, especially when I am servicing a large, broad group of customers. My API has to be flexible enough to accept input and interaction with a broad set of applications. The more open I make my API, potentially the more exposed I am to risk. Okay. That's threat number 2.
Is there any screen source that VMware has?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you've heard around that? That really seems to be the platform.
There are 2 proof of concept attacks against that, against VMware. I haven't seen it in production, and we'll talk about that. Really, the risk in VMware isn't so much VMware itself, it's the platform that VMware sits on. The hardware platform is not built for, it's still a shared processor or shared processors, it's still shared memory, it's still shared hardware. And that's, I think there's more risk there in drivers.
Well, I think, from a cloud perspective, I think one of the big problems with it is everybody has their own interpretation of it.
Right.
But, from a cloud delivery perspective, it's typically that resiliency, all that is done in the application, not down at the, VMware, your big cloud providers. Amazon's not running VMware.
Right. Yeah, Google certainly is.
Yeah.
Google runs their own blend of everything, which we'll get to is one of the threats, actually. Because I don't have visibility. I don't know. I don't know. And that's really, I think from a sales perspective, that's one of the reasons why, I think selling cloud computing is, why it can be appealing to some people is, I put it out here and it's out of sight, out of mind, I don't have to worry about it, right? But I still have liability tied to it, tied to that data. So it's that security through obscurity, which is really no security. Just because I don't know or I close my eyes to it doesn't mean the threats and the risks aren't still there. But we do see a lot of people moving on to the cloud because, I don't want to run my own email server. I just want to put it somewhere and I'll trust whoever that they've secured it appropriately. And when we get to the conclusion of this, we'll give some advice, like on all these things, abuse, nefarious use. This is really a contract issue, and I would want to know. I do my research. If I'm the information security officer of the company and the business is making a push to go to the cloud, really my approach to it is, okay, I need to do a risk assessment, and what that risk assessment is really asking the tough questions and getting those answers. So insecure interfaces and APIs, I would want to know what these are. I would look through the documentation. I have somebody look through the documentation for me.